Welcome to Basecamp Managers, VPE, President, Secretary. The topics we're going to be covering. All three Basecamp managers work as a team. Basic level tools and skills. We're going to be covering pending requests, probably the most important. Awards. It's right in there, really important as well that we know that they need to be processed in both Basecamp and in Club Central. And then finally, a way that you can look at your entire club roster and their education award status, each of them accordingly. The three Basecamp managers are Vice President Education. Now, a lot of us know that the Vice President Education is Basecamp manager. But we may not know that for every single club as well, the club president and the secretary are also Basecamp managers. Now, it would be up to your club how you decided to delegate these duties. Typically, the vice president education would sort of be the manager of this and would delegate or ask for help from either one of the other officer roles. For example, I'm VP in my club, and our secretary really helps me out quite a bit. And I think it could be beneficial to your club as well to consider delegating in that regard. At the basic level, we all need to know how to log in as a Basecamp manager. That's what we're going to get started with. We go to Toastmasters.org, click the login button. Then we type in our member ID or email, the password, and then click the login button. There are many things we can do, of course, at Toastmasters.org. In this case, we want to click on Pathways because that's what we want to do, is log in to Pathways as a Basecamp manager. So we click on Pathways. Then when that is pressed, you'll see Go to Basecamp. You'll click on that. And then at the bottom of the screen, you'll have the option to log into Basecamp as a manager. So you click that second button down there. The first thing we want to discuss is pending requests. In this case, you may not know about these, but these are called external training approvals. This is where a member does a presentation in a location other than your club, but still wants credit in Pathways. Some clubs may not do this, but it can help with record keeping, and I want to make sure that you know how to utilize this. So once we have logged in as a Basecamp manager, this is your Basecamp manager home screen that you'll see. You'll see these three buttons. Pending requests, which is the one that is circled. Member progress, manager tutorials. I'm just going to offer a quick recommendation since this is basic level. This is not intended to be advanced level Basecamp manager. We don't really even talk much about how to verify the requirements of each of these. It's more, in fact, how to follow through with it. I'm just going to quickly put out a blanket statement. Pending requests is probably where you're going to live. I would probably not click on member progress or manager tutorials. There are some complicated things that can come up, but by all means, if you're curious, check them out. But pending requests is where we're going to go today, and that's what we're going to be basing a lot of what we do on in this video. So this is what it looks like. You'll see view pending requests, just letting you know you're in the right place. Once you do this, if you do in fact have some requests outstanding, you'll see that listed toward the bottom. On the far left, you'll see requested by the member, in this case me, for my own example, Dave Bones. Then below that, it says training. Like, in other words, what is this training that you are being informed about? At the time, I had done a TLI club secretary training, so therefore that's what I named it. I wanted to get Pathways credit. That's why it's here. This isn't where you get credit for your training that you've gone to for TLI. This is just the fact that I had done it and I wanted Pathways credit. The type, it says initial. with these external training requests, you're going to have two stages. The first one is initial, to say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. VPE, is this a valid pathways project? And then you have the choice on the far right to approve or deny with either the green check mark or red X, respectively. But say you want to know more about this description, so you can click on under the training there about the club secretary that I had done that I want pathways credit for. So it gives a little bit more detail here. Tells you the name of the description, of course, but then what path I wanted to apply that to and what project. Once you've done that, and let's say you've approved it, you click the green check mark. The comment section, you can write just the fact that you are approving it. As well, I would encourage you to sign your name. I didn't do that in this case, but I would recommend it. Sign your name and your club officer role, and that lets you know out of the 3 base camp managers, you are the one that processed this. Then once you've done that, you'll see back over at the pending request that nothing is there anymore because you've just cleaned that out. Once that member has in fact done what they were asking you about, they're going to come back later and submit a completion request. And that's what this is. It's the same training, same member, but now it says completion, and of course you're given the opportunity to approve or deny with the green check mark or red X. Let's assume you've approved it with the green check mark. And same thing here, you would type in your comments, and again I would encourage you to type in your name and officer role so they know who in fact did process this. Continuing on with pending requests, this is very connected with level completion, but it's worth noting with level completions, as we had said earlier, that they need to be processed. The awards need to be processed both in Basecamp, which we're about to do now, and in Club Central, which we're going to do in a little while. So it looks the same. You see the member's name on the far left, the description, but in this case it says, in my case here, level 4 completion strategic relationships, because it is in fact an education award, and you would have the option to approve or deny. In this case, we'll go ahead and approve it, and then you would go through all the same steps with signing your name, etc. Talking a little bit more about pending requests, there are emails that can come out letting you know when someone has submitted that they want to get an approval of some kind on external training or an education award. Now, if you're someone that just generally is in Basecamp as a Basecamp manager and you're checking pending requests frequently, you may not need this, but there is an automated email that comes out about pending requests. It doesn't automatically come to the VPE. You would have to be the club email contact person in Club Central to receive these emails. So just keep that in mind if you want to get those emails. Now here's the second half of submitting those education awards. Really important that you do it not only in Basecamp but also in Club Central. We do that by logging into the TI website, Toastmasters International, of course, Club Central, and under that would be Submit Education Awards. So we log in the same way, typing in member ID, email, password, login button. In this case, instead of typing clicking on Pathways, you'll click on Leadership Central. There are other ways to get to Club Central. This is the way we're going to be going through today. So once you click on Leadership Central, you'll see on the far left, sort of at the top, Club Central. So you click on that. Once you do that, you'll come to Club Central, and just looking down a little lower, you'll see the option to click Submit Education Awards. And you'll be prompted to select the member that you would like to submit the award for. And this is scrubbed in these slides of member names and that sort of thing, but this is to illustrate how to do this. It's just you won't see the name in this slide, but you will in your case, of course. So you would see the member's name up there, and then you would select the education program. In my case, you would see Strategic Relationships Level 4, so you'd select that, and it is tied into the members, so it's not going to be just showing you education awards that they are not enrolled in. So at this point, you will now see the member listed, the education award that you want to process. You click the button Review Award Submission, and you'll see again the same information. You have the option to edit or submit the award. In this case, let's submit the award, and it is now done. Next thing I want to tell you is that there is, of course, the Pathways Mentor Program. You may or may not know about that, but this is something that hopefully you'll see come across pending requests in your club more than once. But Pathways Mentor Program, it will need to be approved in Basecamp and the award submitted in Club Central. It's very similar to a level approval and submission with the education awards. It is not my intent to get into the more advanced level of a Basecamp manager, which involves verification, that sort of thing. I just want to say, I guess parenthetically, that with the Pathways Mentor Program, pretty easy in terms of approving that in Basecamp. As soon as you see it come in, you can pretty much rest assured that it's been done. Something that is not incredibly clear with Toastmasters International is, in fact, when do you want to submit the award in Club Central for Pathways Mentor Program. It is supposed to be not only when they have completed the Pathways Mentor Program in Basecamp, but as well they're supposed to have completed an entire path and have been in good standing for 6 months, meaning their dues have been paid. And that gives them a different award status. So there's a difference between having completed the Pathways Mentor Program in Basecamp and what's called a Pathways Mentor designation. When you process it in Club Central, that's when they get the Pathways Mentor designation. At the basic level, quite honestly, I just leave verification up to you and your club how you would prefer to do that. I'm here telling you how to do it at this basic level. The last promise was to show you how you could take a look at your entire club roster in Club Central, which of course is going to show you your entire member list, in other words, and it displays all of their education award status. So we go back to Club Central, and instead of Submit Education Awards, you'll click on Club Roster. Then at that point, displayed will be your entire membership list that's paid. In this case, I scrubbed everybody but myself, but you'll see that my name is listed, Dave Bones, DTM. That happens to be my award status. And then there's other information there, but that's what you really wanted to know in this case as a Basecamp manager. And this is where you find it. To recap, we've talked about all three Basecamp managers, how we can work as a team. The basic level tools and skills we worked with were pending requests, the awards, and the fact that they need to be processed both in Basecamp and Club Central, and then a way to look at your entire club roster and their corresponding education award status. Thank you so much for watching. I really encourage you, if you have any questions, please use the comment section of this video.